This is not a typical wide-angle zoom lens, but I'll tell you why you might like it as much as I do. The Tamron 20-40mm f2.8 lens is wide enough for vlogging, and at 40mm it's nice and natural for filming people, and it's also a great alternative for the Tamron 17-28mm f2.8 ultra-wide-angle lens. Here's some vlogging tests that I did with the Tamron 20-40mm lens. This is a vlogging test with the Tamron 20-40mm f2.8 lens at 20mm f2.8. This is a vlogging test with the Tamron 20-40mm f2.8 lens at 40mm f2.8. I also did some autofocus test where I walked towards the camera and where I stood up and got into the frame, and in both situations the autofocus worked really well without any problems, both in 20mm and in 40mm. The minimum focusing distance with the Tamron 20-40mm lens is only 6.7 inches or 17 centimeters, which is really close, and I'm super happy about it because it allows me to get these kind of like macro type of shots where I can emphasize certain details in the shot. There's one thing that's a little bit weird about this lens. The lens extends a little bit when you zoom it all the way from 40mm to 20mm, and usually it's the other way around, and that might take a while to get used to. But honestly, it's not a problem for me. It's just something that I wanted you to know. The 20-40mm lens weighs 12.9 ounces or 365 grams, and the 17-28mm lens weighs 18.82 ounces or 420 grams. But they're both still very lightweight and small lenses. Another thing that I really like is that the ND filter size is 67mm in both lenses, the 17-28mm lens and the 20-40mm lens, and almost every Tamron lens that I've used or owned has had the exact same filter size, which is great because you only need one ND filter with the right size and you don't have to fiddle around with these annoying step-up rings. If we compare the difference in the focal length in the 20-40mm lens to the 17-28mm lens, there is a bit of a difference. Here's a couple of example shots. As you can see, the 17mm is noticeably wider than the 20mm. But then again, the 40mm is much more natural looking than the 28mm, and the 40mm also gives you more of that background blur, that nice bokeh. And it's also a bit of personal preference on which one you prefer more, having a wider 17mm focal length for vlogging or having that nice natural looking 40mm focal length for filming people. The Tamron 20-40mm f2.8 lens comes around $699 or 989 euros here in Finland, and the Tamron 17-28mm f2.8 lens comes around $799 or 989 euros here in Finland. Now real quick, I want to say a huge thank you to Focus Nordic for letting me borrow this lens for this review. If your primary use for the lens is vlogging, then I definitely get the 17-28mm lens because it's wider and better for vlogging. But if you do a bit of vlogging, but you also want to have a small, lightweight, versatile lens that you can use, for example, for family vacations, and have that nice 40mm natural looking focal length, and you don't need a telephoto lens, then I definitely consider getting the 20-40mm f2.8 lens, because it's so versatile and it's so easy to carry around. Alright, thanks for watching, and I'll see you again in the next video. Take care.